Hi everyone, it's Leilani. Welcome back to my channel. Today, friends, it is time to start October Daily. Let's have a round of applause, cheers, fireworks, all the things. October is here and it is time to start October Daily, which I am so excited about. So I wanted to go ahead and get going on my album and tell a few stories that happened kind of early in the season, as it is only October 2nd. But I did have a few photos and things that I've been kind of collecting over the last few days, in preparation of October really starting. So first off, before I turned on the camera, I did spend quite a bit of time. I watched the Circle finale, and I did spend quite a bit of time figuring out exactly what I wanted to do and what type of layouts and stuff that I wanted to create so I could print off my pictures at the correct size. And once I got on camera, I would be ready to go. So I chose some papers that I was interested in. So I knew that for my title page, I wanted to use one of those really cute papers from Social Paper Plan with all the different classic monsters on it. And then on the other side, I wanted to use that star pattern. So I went ahead and just put those back to back, cut those the correct size, and punched my holes. And then they're waiting there for me to continue. Now, for my next page, I'm doing the same thing. I'm cutting out that really cute kind of groovy Halloween pattern there from the Paige Evans collection. So I cut that out the same size, punched my holes. So then I'm going to put the double stacked 3x4 page protector in the middle. But before I do that, I'm kind of just getting these pages in place. So I noticed that in the Paige Evans ephemera pack, there were all of these really cute frames. And I knew that I had a lot of pictures for one of my main stories, just little pictures from around the house. So I assumed that I was going to print those off smaller. So my original thought was to just use a 2x2 page protector from Citrus Twist and just cut everything out as 2x2s, add in maybe some little sequin pockets or, things that I've done many times in the past. But then I noticed these frames, and last year in particular, I cut out a lot of the Echo Park Monster Mash collection. They had these little framed, cute little characters. And so I would use my X-Acto knife and cut around some of the frames and use those. So these were even easier because only this tiny one at the bottom did I have to use an X-Acto knife. The rest just popped right out. So it was awesome. But I thought, okay, these are perfect. So before I turned the camera on, I figured out which pictures I wanted to print off. And I went ahead and measured each one of these frames with my ruler, and then I printed off my photo at that exact size. So that's one thing that's nice about having a home printer, because it's easy for me to print off different sized photos and kind of just fly by the seat of my pants kind of thing, where I can just kind of on a whim decide what I want to do. So that's what I decided for this one. And I really love the way that it ended up turning out. Now, I didn't notice, but I printed off the wrong photo here for this bigger frame. It was a different ghost photo. So I went ahead and stopped the camera for a second, reprinted the photo. So you can see it's just an up close version of one of the other ones. And then I popped that into place. So this is it's technically my second story, because I am going to do a reason why, intro page first. But this is my first main story that is all about welcoming fall and showing off those little bits and pieces. So as far as whenever I did this in real life, so on Sunday, which was just a couple days before October, I thought I'm going to have a super fall fun day. So I had bought just pre-made pumpkin cinnamon rolls a couple weeks ago, and I was saving them for the right day. So I thought, okay, this is perfect. So I baked pumpkin cinnamon rolls in the morning. I also tried a hot apple cider recipe. It made the house smell so good. And whenever I tried it, I liked it, but I kind of preferred the cold one that I normally drink. But it was really fun. It had blood oranges in it. It had apples in it and cinnamon sticks, and it smelled so good and looked so pretty. So I have a picture of that. And then I just showed off a few bits and pieces of some of the pumpkins, the ghosts, little decorations around my kitchen and around the house, which was really nice and fun to take pictures of. So I'm kind of going back and forth between these two stories here. So we're going to work on the reason why page now. So there was a larger tag here from the Paige Evans collection. So I thought that that would be perfect to add on my journaling. So again, before I turned the camera on, I went ahead and typed up all of my journaling and I printed it off on the clear sticker paper, which is really, really handy. I just get it off of Amazon. I will link it below if I remember. If not, just ask me in the comments. But I end up just kind of adding some stickers and some of the embellishment pieces here. And then I'm going to use the Sophie Alpha stamp throughout and stamp different titles for all of my different stories. So I'm going to go ahead and read you my little reason why. So for this year, I said, beautiful October is here. I have been patiently waiting for the calendar to flip over to this glorious month. This year, I want to focus the most on really romanticizing this season. I want to do all of the cozy, spooky, Halloweeny things that I possibly can and make each one of those things extra special. So bring it on, October. I'm so very happy you are back. So I love that. I love doing like a little intro. It's a nice way to start the album and kind of get you in the mood. And then you see there at the bottom, I have the Hello October stamped out. So I'm just adding in a few little embellishments. And then in between this like opening page and my frame page there, I'm going to put one of the 3x4, the stacked 3x4 page protectors, which I definitely enjoy for like October daily, December daily. Don't ask me why, but I am in the camp of working outside of the page protectors. I really love that. Although I do love to have a page protector in there from time to time. I like the different texture and I like the different size. So my favorite are these 3x4s because they are like a skinnier, smaller little page protector that you can add in there. And I think that they're really fun. And of course they fit the 3x4 photos really nicely, and that's like my favorite size to work with. So I went ahead. Another thing that I always do for all of my October dailies is I go on Instagram and I take a couple selfies with the little spooky filter that is offered on Instagram, and it makes you look like the corpse bride, which I love. And it's just a tradition now with all of my October dailies. It's how I start it, and it's a great thing for me to do early in the season. Before I'm dressing up, before I'm doing any of the Halloweeny things, I can go ahead and take these very easy but very themed photos. So that's really fun. So then on the opposite side that kind of goes with the frame spread, I added another picture of my table with some of the real pumpkins that I bought. And then also I stamped Welcome Fall. And my first real story here is all about getting ready for the season. So I said, adding cozy fall touches around the house is a complete must for me once the season is here. This year, I again didn't get all of our Halloween bits and bobs out of the attic. So instead, I've been adding small sweet touches here and there to make the house feel and smell as cozy and autumnal as possible. Pumpkin cinnamon rolls and hot apple cider forever, please. So just little bits there. And then we are moving on to the third story, which again is about decor, but it is all about outdoor decor, which I was really excited to document because this is actually the first year that we have added outdoor decor to our house, which is something that I have been having so much fun with. So in September, we were doing tons of house projects, really, all summer. But one thing that we did was we worked on our front like little flower bed, and we pressure washed the house and painted the front door and did a few things like that. So since it was all looking so nice, it was just really needing to be pampered this October and to have all of the things out front. So it's been really fun to grab bits and pieces as I go to Target with my mom. And Will, the first time he saw it, he raved about it. And the fact that he really liked it just meant so much to me and made me really happy. So it's definitely something that I have super enjoyed doing over this like very beginning of the season. So I wanted to document that. So I had this picture here of our flower bed out front that I put all kinds of little foam gravestones into and little skeletons and stuff. So I wanted to take a picture of that with like all of the lights in the background. So I really loved this photo. So I thought, okay, I'm going to print that picture off as a 6x8 so that it can be nice and big. And I didn't end up adding any embellishments to it. Now, I feel like as I'm working throughout the season, my album's never done. I could come back to these pages and add more or decide that it needs something else. But right now, these two big photos, I just felt like already had enough going on with the actual photos, and I wanted the photos to be able to like breathe and you to be able to really take them in. So I decided not to add any embellishments onto either one of these photos of the outside, but I add a lot of embellishments around the spread. So for that larger picture, I just keep it as is. And then what I decided to do was I printed off the second photo, which was going horizontally. So I decided to print this one off as a 8.5 by 11. So basically a full sheet of paper. And then I just, cropped it down a little bit so that it would all be cut out nicely. And then I just folded it in half, cut it, and then I added a hinge using a piece of just regular old computer paper, as you saw in the video. So then you're able to kind of fold it out and you have a flip out page, which is really fun and adds a little bit of interest. And then you can have those larger photos in your album, especially the horizontal ones that won't fit very nicely. So I love the way that that ended up looking. And then I had one other photo of the outside of the house, which this is just kind of an up close of the table that we have where you can see there are spider webs and spiders and a ghost hanging on the windows. Then there's a mom inside of like a witch's cauldron and then a couple pumpkins. There's a spider on top of the mum. There's all kinds of stuff actually going on in that picture. So I took this kind of up close photo. So I printed it off as a 3x4 and then I am just using some more of that star paper to back it, but I left a little bit on top so that I could fold that nicely and get a good crease. And then I could adhere it down as I'm doing here. And then whenever you flip it up, I could add an embellishment and I could add my journaling underneath there, which I also really enjoyed. So as I'm putting the rest of that together, I'll read you this journaling as well. So I said, can you believe this year is the first time we have ever decorated the outside of the house? After cleaning up the yard and pressure washing the house in September, it was just screaming to be turned into a completely magical and a little spooky, not so haunted house. I say the only thing we are missing is one of those 12-foot skeletons for the yard next year, winky face. So yeah, I love those big, huge skeletons. If I had a place to store it, I swear I would go for it, but you never know. Not this year, but you never know what could happen in the future. So here I'm just kind of getting everything together. I'm going to add a little bit of washi tape above the photo. And I'm also trying to decide if I'm going to add any embellishments. Now, I end up changing this a little bit towards the end, so some of this isn't going to stay, but you get the general idea here. I'm going to add the washi above the photo. I'm also going to add, I grabbed out a couple different ribbons that I had. One is a black ribbon with white polka dots, and one is like a Tim Holtz, I think. I could be wrong, but velvet orange ribbon, like a dark orange. So I use those a couple of times throughout as well. And I love creating like little pull ties with those. So I'm going to do that eventually. So this is where the ribbon comes in. So I keep kind of going back and forth between the front and the back, but we will decorate the front as well. So since the front and the back of this little flip out gets so embellished, that's another reason why I felt like the pictures didn't really need very much. So I'm pretty sure that I'm done with that one, and then we're going to flip it over to the front. So for this one, I knew I wanted the title to go on this page somewhere. So I actually was kind of messing with this Let's Get Scary embellishment here on the other side, but then I thought, well, what if I flip it over so that it's white and I could stamp on top of it? So I ended up liking that idea. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. So after I add this little piece of washi, which I love this Paige Evans washi, by the way, especially that stripe, it is so good. So I found in the Paige Evans ephemera pack, I found these couple little tickets, which I love ticket ephemera. It's so cute. So I tucked those behind my my white label there, and I'm going to add on a few embellishments. Then I decided to just take my pen and I'm going to outline around the label because I think it just makes it pop a little bit more. And then I'm going to add on my title with the same Sophie Alpha stamps, which is Haunted House. So then you get the idea of what I'm talking about here. And then you can enjoy the big flip out and then read my journaling on the opposite side. So I love the way that this little cluster ended up turning out. And I think it's really cute. And I just really love the stories about the outside. Definitely let me know. Do you decorate for Halloween? Do you like to decorate the inside of your house, the outside? Do you have one of those huge skeletons? I would love to know. It's definitely been a super fun thing so far this season, and I enjoy turning on those lights every single night, so it's super fun. So now we're going to move on to the last story for this video, and it is about going to see the new Beetlejuice movie with my mom. So I did place that picture of the pumpkins behind this photo, like the 3x4 photos that I'm working on, but I'm not going to actually do anything with that one yet. So if I do end up using that photo, which I plan to right now, in the next video, you will see like how I embellish it and all that kind of stuff. So for this one, what I decided to do was I had one picture of me and my mom from the movies. And then, of course, I wanted to add in the Beetlejuice movie poster. So I just went to Google and I grabbed the old original Beetlejuice movie poster and the new one. And I loved how they really mirrored each other. And there was a lot of nods to the old one in the new poster. So I thought that that was fun. So I just kept that really simple. I used one of the plaid kind of checkered papers, and then I printed them off at the same size and just added them onto the back of these 3x4s here. Now on this one, you can see I'm kind of doing the same thing for the bottom. I use my stamps to spell out Beetlejuice, and then I'm adding on my journaling. So as I'm putting it in place, again, I will read it to you. This one is super simple. I just said, I was so excited when I saw that a sequel to Beetlejuice was coming out this fall. So happy Mom and I were able to see it together. We both really enjoyed the movie, plus the popcorn and reclining seats. Love creating these memories with her. So I really like the way that that ended up looking right there inside of that frame. I enjoyed that. Also, just a note about that photo. So me and my mom took this picture outside of the movies, and this might be kind of complicated, but what I did was on the A Color Story app, which is the app I use for editing all of my pictures, you can change the tint. So I don't normally do that, but if you turn it all the way to like maybe the right side, it'll turn it purple. And if you do it all the way to the left side, it'll turn it green. I'm pretty sure it's the tint. So I just changed it purple and saved it. Then I changed it green and saved it, and I had two different photos. Then I went on the app Diptyque, which there's probably so many other ways you can do this, but Diptyque is like a collage app. So then I put the two photos together and I just kind of Frankensteined them together until it looked like it was that original photo. So then I could have half of the picture green and half purple, which were like the Beetlejuice colors. So then I could just do something a little fun for that photo of me and my mom in here. So I enjoyed that. So I got all of that in place, and then I had saved a couple of these tabs that were from Paige Evans as well. So I added this one onto the front and just did a little roller stamp there. And then I'm going to start to put everything into my album. But as I'm doing that and I'm placing things in, I did notice that whenever I added the adhesive strip to this haunted house card here, it is up a little high, and I didn't like the way that that looked, like how it's a little short. So what I ended up doing was I grabbed the same pattern paper and I just made like a squiggle design at the bottom, and then I'm going to adhere it down also to the same pattern paper so that it would be the same spider web on both sides. Then I'm going to use red line tape, and I'm going to attach the squiggle border to the bottom of the haunted house flip out that I did. And I'll add some washi and whatnot, but the idea is just to give it a little bit more length. So instead of it kind of being a little too short, I didn't like how it was cut off there. So it just gives it a little bit of interest with the squiggle border, but also adds a little length. So it's just one of those things where, you know, you can always fix a problem. That's how I feel whenever I'm scrapbooking and I'm looking for a solution. And so this was a way for me to add a little bit more and have me like this page a bit more. So you can see here, you can hardly tell that I added an additional piece of paper to the bottom, and I really like the way that it looks. Inside, it doesn't match up perfectly, but it's Halloween, it's wonky, it's fun. I think that it works out very nicely, doesn't bother me at all, and I really like the way that it ended up looking. So the red line tape is super helpful because it's very, very sticky, so that thing is not going to move at all. So I adhere it down, and then just to help with the seam and also just to add a little bit more protection and stuff, I do add that same darker thin washi, and I stretch it all the way around the side so that the like the hinged part has a little bit more protection on it there. So you can see I'll wrap it around the side instead of cutting it here. And that is, I believe, the last thing that we're going to do. So after I get all of this in place, I do add some washi again to the inside as well. But once I get that all in place, we will be done with this one. So yeah, let me know too. Have you seen Beetlejuice? Do you plan on seeing it? What's a favorite Halloween movie that you love to watch every year? I'm excited for a few of them. I've already watched You've Got Mail, which is definitely a more autumnal movie, but it totally gives you those fall vibes, which I absolutely love. So here we're going to put things into place and give you a quick flip through of all of the pages. But I'm just so excited that October is here, friends. I hope that you have had a nice start to the month, and I can't wait to share all of the fun stories with you throughout this month. So definitely be checking back. I plan on sharing a video each week of October, an October daily video. So I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please give me a like, and please also consider subscribing. And of course, I'll be back at you with more videos super soon. So have a great one. I'll talk to you later. Bye, y'all.